So I watched a video the other day on this topic of the things that happen when you're either having a breakthrough or even just getting close to having a breakthrough. And by breakthrough, I mean you're going into an elevated form of your life. So you're getting beyond a current issue you have, a current mindset, especially if it's a big jump. Say you're like going from being very negative to very positive. So what you start noticing happening is there's this period where things just start going wrong. And it doesn't have to be necessarily physical things, although a lot of time it is. But it can also just be maybe you start watching very violent movies all of a sudden, or you start overeating or eating poor foods that you wouldn't normally eat. Or maybe you just start getting negative, you start gossiping, or just something that's out of character that you wouldn't normally do. This is all very common when you're going from one mind state or belief system to another. And the way the guy in the video put it, I can't remember this gentleman's name, but he was saying it's almost like your current belief system is an entity that's alive. It's like a living entity. It's not a physical entity, but on the spiritual plane or the non physical plane, it is a living entity, and that this entity wants to survive. And so once it sees that its time is short, it's going to start doing all it can to try to trap you in its belief system. And of course, this is your belief system. You are this entity at the end of the day. So it's really self sabotage. But I just thought that was such a great way of explaining this phenomenon because I've been through this so many times. And at the end of the day, it's resistance, but it really does feel like an outside attack. So, like recently, I was just becoming more selfless. I was trying to offer people rides home from temples and just really trying to put myself out there, going out of my way to help people essentially. And it was just unbelievable the amount of resistance that came up, just flat tires. Each time I would take, like I mentioned, the temple example, each time I was taking these people, I got two flat tires. And it was just, I mean, that's fairly uncommon to get a flat tire, especially if you're taking someone home from a temple, and then for it to happen twice in a row. And then there was other days I noticed I was watching movies that I wouldn't normally watch, like just very violent, like stupid movies. And at the end of the day, it's resistance. It's your own mind and soul trying to stay in its comfort zone is really what it is. And the mind is a very vast thing that we have just hardly scratched the surface on understanding. And so it has its ways of presenting these obstacles when you're making a change. But the point of this is you have to make a full commitment to that change. If you are not tooth and nail committed to the change you are making, these obstacles are going to come up and they're just going to flatten you because they can be very intense. And they are very intense because, I mean, this is a belief system dying. So, the main message here, obstacles will come up when you're making any kind of major change, whether it's a psychological change or a physical change. And the way through is being fully committed to the change, like no matter what comes up. But in the meantime, being kind and gentle to yourself and the situations that arise, and giving them your full awareness and your full compassion as they arise, seeing them, and then going ahead with the change anyways.